proven himself to the nation, but what do you want him to show you out here tonight?
I think he's ready to play well, but it's a team sport, so all of our guys got to play well if we're going to beat these guys.
Coach, settle this for me. Does the winner get to call themselves Carolina?
I think no matter what, both schools will still call themselves Carolina.
Probably true. Thanks, Coach. Reese Davis, the head ball coach, has never lost a home opener at South Carolina. We'll see if he can keep it rolling.
And Samantha, as we saw, the only opener he's lost came at the hands of South Carolina when he was at Duke. Now this atmosphere, David, is rocking. They're excited. They think they can play for a championship. How does it help Jadeveon Clowney?
Well, first of all, South Carolina's a legit national championship contender, so the fans are excited. But what happens when you play at home? When you're Jadeveon Clowney, the offensive line has to communicate with silent signals. The quarterback doesn't be able to go, he doesn't get to hard count you with 1, 2, 3. Now Jadeveon Clowney you get to get a decisive advantage on the snap count. You get the jump. The fans can't hear themselves. It's a dream as a pass rusher to play at home. It makes it even more difficult to try to block this guy.
And Dave, if I'm quarterback Bryn Renner from UNC, I better have a plan each and every snap. Firstly, you have to identify where he lines up. You have to help your offensive line with protection calls to get 2 blockers on him. Secondly, you have to get the football out of your hands quickly with his speed. You better know what the coverage is at the top of your drop. You better know where your outlet receiver is. Bryn Renner has never seen a pass rusher like Jadeveon Clowney. He must have a plan every snap tonight.
We're going to see Bryn Renner and the North Carolina offense a little bit later on. North Carolina won the toss, they deferred, so South Carolina will get the ball first as this big crowd is kicking up a sandstorm. Larry Fedora, in his second year as the head coach of North Carolina, won 8 games a year ago. He is an offensive guru, and over the second half of the season, his offense performed very well. Victor Hampton is deep for South Carolina to return. It is Nick Weiler who will get the 2013 season underway right now. Welcome to college football. Hampton will bring it out. Hampton takes a big hit, doesn't get back to the 20. Dominique Green, a freshman defensive back from Laurinburg, lowers the boom, and that is where Connor Shaw and the Gamecocks will put it into play. Shaw is 6'1", 209-pound senior from Flowery Branch, Georgia, the winningest quarterback in South Carolina history.
But he has to do a good job today passing the football. I'll be interested to see how Spurrier does with him in running the football. He's a good running quarterback.
This North Carolina defense struggled at times last year. Put up some big numbers. Marcus Lattimore's departed. The starting running back is Mike Davis. Davis, the younger brother of former Clemson star James Davis, gets the first carry and a good gain on first down. Here are the impact players when the Gamecocks have the ball. Mike Davis, who you saw, and Shaq Rowland, the former Mr. Football in the state. Trey Boston and Kareem Martin, the lead defenders for the Tar Heels. Martin continuing a long line of outstanding defensive linemen who applied their trade in college in Chapel Hill. Davis picked up 5. Shaw has 3 receivers to his left. Back to Davis, first down and more, across the 30 to the 35. And South Carolina has its initial first down pickup of a dozen.
I love this game plan by South Carolina. They have to be able to run the football against a much smaller front 7 from North Carolina. I think this is the best offensive line in the Steve Spurrier area here at South Carolina. They look like an NFL line. They got to play like it. They have to dominate.
We expect tempo from North Carolina, and South Carolina is showing a little bit. Connor Shaw going for his first pass and taking a shot. There is Shaq Rowland. He's out there. First touchdown of the 2013 season. 65 yards. plays, 82 yards, and Steve Spurrier told us with the different coverages North Carolina played, they wanted to take some shots, and he didn't waste any time doing it.
You benefit when you run the football. You can run play action, suck defenders close to the line of scrimmage. There's an example of Connor Shaw trusting the area of the field. And how about Shaq Rowland making a massive play early?
Elliott Fry, a walk-on true freshman. His first kick as a Gamecock is true. And it didn't even take 90 seconds before South Carolina, noted for defense, strikes with a big play up top. Shaq Rowland, second career touchdown. Cocky up by 7. If you had under 80 seconds for the first touchdown of the 2013 season, you win. South Carolina up 7-0.
It's a great job of coverage recognition by Connor Shaw. This is quarters coverage. Demir Bird is going to run the in route. That occupies the safety, leaving the post open for Shaq Rowland. And that's a pretty good way to start the game, guys. 1 for 1 with a long touchdown pass.
Well, and 2 runs to show your physical play. And then Connor Shaw, one of the big question marks about this team is who's going to step up at receiver. Shaq Rowland says, I'll throw my name in the hat because they're going to need a big-time playmaker on the outside.
We were at practice on Tuesday, and the Gamecocks ran that play, and Spurrier was a little upset as we kick off because Rowland broke stride, and then it ended up being an overthrow, and they didn't get the touchdown. This time Shaq kept running, and he gets a 65-yard score. The kickoff goes out of bounds as Landon Ard, sophomore from Rock Hill, South Carolina, boots it out of bounds. It'll give the Gamecocks good field position to start, or rather the Tar Heels, I should say, as the Gamecocks got the first score.
I think the biggest place that Connor Shaw can improve this year as a passer is throwing on time. And that was a great example of taking a 7-step drop and letting it go on time, giving Shaq Rowland an opportunity to run under the football.
Now North Carolina has the ball on its 35-yard line. Bryn Renner, the quarterback. There is Jadeveon Clowney, and we'll be keeping a camera on Clowney throughout much of the night. You'll see him line up in various spots and whamming towards defense. And with the ball on the hash mark, Clowney, who typically plays an end, is going to get right up in Russell Bodine's kitchen right over the nose. Renner, his first pass, you're going to see a lot of short passes and some excellent coverage. Now by number 9, that's Sherrod Golightly. Tapley made the catch. It was a loss on the play for the couple. It'll be 2nd and long.
And it's going to be where's Waldo. You're going to have to find Clowney. They're going to move him around, not let North Carolina know where he's at every single play on defense.
To the ground, Romar Morris. That's back a couple of the yards that were lost and 2 more. It'll bring up 3rd down and long. And this is where you can slow down the tempo of North Carolina if you're able to put the Tar Heels in a 3rd and long situation.
And when you can move Jadeveon Clowney around, it forces that offensive line to just pause that extra second to identify him. Here he is right now at the top, lined up on preseason All-American left tackle James Hurst.
This is a matchup both guys have anticipated. Hurst does a good job on him. Renner with a terrific throw and is complete to Eric Ebron. And Ebron is a guy who could break out and have a star-studded season, pick up a 13 and a 1st down for the Heels.
There's a lot of different ways that North Carolina is going to try to slow down Jadeveon Clowney. There's a chip block by running back Romar Morris.
Now Morris has the ball, short gain on the give. Renner is going to look for Ebron, particularly on 3rd down and any time that they feel they have an isolated matchup with number 85 in Carolina blue. Renner's going to be looking his way. 2 guys, locker mates now. Renner wanted to make sure he was on the same page with a guy who likely will prove to be one of his favorite receivers, but not his only one. His other tight end is Jack Tabb. Tabb is going to play a little offense and defense. Looked like a defensive player. Jack didn't hold on to that one. Here are the impact players when North Carolina has the ball. The left tackle Hurst, preseason All-American. John Heck, the son of Andy Heck, on the other side, and both of them are going to get a load of Clowney.
Yeah, and you're talking about a freshman, so look to see Clowney move Clowney to left end so they can get some of the freshmen, especially in passing situations.
Renner the screen. A.J. Blue, and Blue is tipped up by Bryson Williams. Victor Hampton is over there close as well. He'll bring up a 4th down.
And one way to slow Clowney down is screens, draws, and you see 2 screens already. That one ran right at him. Let him get upfield. The tackle knows he can bail, and then they pitch it right underneath him. The quarterback doesn't have to sit back in the pocket and get abused by Clowney.
And the best way to defend tempo if you're a defense, get off the field. They allowed 1 first down on that possession. Now they go back to the sidelines to get a breather, give the football back to their offense.
Tommy Hibbert standing at his 40 to punt it, averaged a little better than 41 yards per punt a season ago. Victor Hampton, return man for South Carolina. Hibbert had it hit inside the 5, but couldn't kill it there, so it goes into the end zone. And it'll come out to the 20. South Carolina will have it for the 2nd time tonight. First possession, most productive, as we take a look at the weekend menu, brought to you by Applebee's. As soon as we are done here on ESPN from South Carolina, go to Nashville, Ole Miss and Vanderbilt. Both teams on the uptick, and you see the weekend slate, including on Monday night, Labor Day, Florida State against Pittsburgh as the Panthers make their debut as a member of the ACC. And as much as we've enjoyed Jadeveon Clowney in his 3 years, Ole Miss has the guy that they hope will be as much of a force for them in freshman Robert Kindici that we'll see later tonight.
No, that's a must-win game for both teams, which I feel weird saying in week 1 between 2 teams that aren't expected to compete for the conference. But if they're both going to take the next step, I think each of those teams has to win that game.
Have you seen Ole Miss's schedule early?
Rough.
They need to win that one.
Texas and Alabama within the first 5-6 weeks of the season. Davis hit immediately. Norkeithus Otis was the first guy to get some pads on him.
South Carolina's offensive line is way bigger than North Carolina. You can see per player, they outweigh North Carolina by 50 pounds per man. That has to show up tonight when they're running the football, getting pushed. They've done a good job so far early.
How about that belly that Ronald Patrick, the right guard's from?
Trying to go Warmack on us, isn't he?
2nd and 8. Shaw dangerous when he pulls it down. Gets out to the 25. He'll be 5 yards short of the first down.
And that's one of the things that you struggle with Connor Shaw a little bit. It's one quick read, and then his eyes are coming down, and he's taking off. He needs to do a better job this season as the year goes on. He needs to do a better job staying in the pocket and getting to that 2nd read and throwing the football.
But there's a point right now, David, where North Carolina has to keep Connor Shaw in the pocket on this 3rd down. Don't let him get outside, because that's really where he can hurt you with his legs on 3rd down.
Shaw 2 for 2. There's another first down, I believe, depending on the spot. That was the tight end, Drew Owens. Not going to see Rory Anderson tonight. Tight end who's been dealing with a hamstring issue. Bruce Ellington, star wide receiver and star basketball player who caught the winning touchdown pass against Michigan in the Outback Bowl, also has been bothered by a hamstring. We're waiting to see how much Bruce will be able to play, if any. The Gamecocks a little bit thin at tight end, but Owens making a catch, and there is Bruce. Don't want to wear out a hamstring on opening night. He's going to be an important part.
Reset the play clock to 25 seconds and start it on my signal.
That's the referee, Dennis Hennigan. We have an ACC crew on the field, an SEC crew in the replay booth. And completion to the tight end gives South Carolina a 1st and 10 at its own 30. Connor Shaw pulls it and keeps it. Shaw turning the corner. Big gain for him out close to midfield and into North Carolina territory before he's tripped up by Tim Scott to pick up at 21.
What I think makes Connor Shaw unique with respect to being a dual threat quarterback, unlike a lot of other running quarterbacks, Connor Shaw has the speed to take it the distance every snap, and that's on tape. Just ask Missouri last year. That's what makes him special.
And he's physical enough to do the inside running game too in short yardage. But one thing to watch too is him getting down and not taking extra hits, because he needs to stay healthy. A lot of times at the end of runs, he lowers his shoulders and tries to deliver a boom.
This North Carolina defense, guys, has some problems at linebacker, and we just saw Malik Simmons sort of run right by Connor Shaw, and by the time he realized the Gamecock quarterback had the ball, it was too late. Kareem Martin was putting on the pressure, but not enough, not in time, and he fires complete, and Nick Jones making the grab.
There's another very good example of Connor Shaw throwing the football, getting it out on time. He's not eyeballing any of his receivers. He's got his eyes downfield. Right after that hitch step, the football comes out. You see how wide open Nick Jones is in the slot. Connor Shaw helps throw him open.
Shaw's hit his first 3 for 81 yards.
So you saw last time, you saw run, and you saw a little play action, so might see some more of it.
Bobbled the snap. Davis has it. Breaks some tackles. Tar Heels unable to lock up. Davis gets down to the 33-yard line. He'll be about 5 short of the first down.
And I know it seems like everything right now is working for South Carolina, but if you're UNC, you'd rather Connor Shaw beat you throwing it. You can't allow them to run the football. You have to stop that, both conventional ways when they hand off and Connor Shaw as well. Make Shaw beat you throwing.
It would help to get a pass rush when he throws, though.
With the size differential you guys talked about, wonder how long before the defensive coordinator, Vic Koenig, realizes he's going to have to send some extra bodies.
Looks like he's doing it right now.
Hit and wrapped up almost immediately. That's Tim Jackson getting to Mike Davis. It'll bring up the 3rd down, and an important one for North Carolina. It'll be a little bit of a momentum boost if they could slow down the Gamecocks.
And Davey, you just mentioned how it helped to get a pass rush. While South Carolina is a big physical offensive line, I don't think their 2 mammoth tackles are very good in pass pro, so someone has to step up for UNC coming off the edge.
There is Vic Koenig, who had to deal with a bevy of injuries here in camp. Nathan Staub, starting middle linebacker, was hurt. Shaquille Rashad, Sam Smiley, a bandit and a strong safety, both lost as well. You put the heels together, a little duct tape and baling wire, but the guys are up to the challenge here as they stop the run on 3rd down. It'll be 4th down and a couple. And with the uncertainty in the kicking game for South Carolina, I think Spurrier's going to leave the offense on the field.
He is, and he's bringing on a couple of extra tight ends, showing that he may be willing to run this football again. If he were to run it, I would run behind the left side. That's the biggest side, behind left tackle Corey Robinson and left guard A.J. Kahn.
And this is where Connor Shaw's feet puts you in a dilemma on defense, too, because he can also run at the same time and pick up an extra blocker.
Spurrier decides to use a timeout, of 4th and 2 for the Gamecocks at the North Carolina 30.
ESPN College Football Primetime is served by Applebee's. Applebee's 2 for $20 menu just got even better with the new Honey Pepper Grill. And in part by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. And the Experience Buick Lease. It's a new lease on luxury.
We give you behind-the-scenes looks, guys. We take you inside the Coca booth, which is just here across from Williams-Brice Stadium. Got some boiled peanuts, South Carolina delicacy, and the freshman kicker, Elliott Fry, who kicked the extra point, staying on the sidelines. It would be a 47-yard field goal attempt. South Carolina doesn't have anyone who's made a field goal. Landon Ard, who kicked off, made a couple of point afters, and now Fry's made one. So on a 4th and 2 from the North Carolina 30, 2nd possession of the night for the Gamecocks, Spurrier's going to try to pick up the 1st down. Brandon Wilds in at running back. Wilds has it. He's hit. He's trying to drive. He broke a couple. Can he get across the yellow line? What a strong, tough run. He's carrying every Tar Heel short of Lawrence Taylor and Julius Peppers all the way down for the 1st down.
And that is demoralizing if you are a defense, because it looks like they have this stuff. Now, they run behind the left side, which is their best side. It looked like Kareem Martin.
He was in there.
Had a shot to make the play, but there's the push. There's the size of South Carolina's O-line demonstrating itself, pushing the pile.
And one question mark everybody's going to have coming into this season is who's going to be that physical runner for Marcus Lattimore. And Wilds, he had 300-yard games, and Lattimore got hurt a couple seasons ago, but that was a man run right there.
David Wilds, when he came in, it's going to be Lattimore's backup at a high ankle sprain, redshirted the season ago. Shaw has a lot of time. Now outside the tackle box, he'll toss it away. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
A lot of time is an understatement there, wasn't it?
So what does it do to South Carolina's offense if you have Wilds return to the form that we saw a couple of years ago as a freshman and able to give some power running, 100-yard games and so forth.
I think it provides the physical presence that Marcus Lattimore had in this offense. Don't forget, Mike Davis and Brandon Wilds also both catch the football very, very well, which is an important component in this offense too.
And it has to allow Connor Shaw to be a play-action guy, not just a drop-back guy all the time. They have to have the running game with him.
Wild still in there. Davis is not a small back. He weighs 215 pounds. He's not really a tall guy, and Shaw's going to have to snap this thing to get to the way. Connor's going to pull it down and run. He's tripped up. First guy to get to him was Norkeithus Otis. Norkeithus had hoped to get him on the ground a little bit quicker, but we have another third down.
So that's the first time we've seen the pass rush. A smaller defensive bandit player, defensive end Norkeithus Otis at 240 pounds, applying the pressure, forcing Connor Shaw to tuck it. Now you set up a long 3rd and 10. If I'm North Carolina, sit back in a big zone defense, keep the football in front of you.
Four receivers spread out. Rowland, who caught the touchdown pass, is at the top of your screen. Shaw to Rowland, and he can't hang on. Those two almost hooked up for a second touchdown. It'll be 4th down and 10 from the 22, and now Spurrier will send out the field goal unit.
He missed the throw, but I love the conviction from Connor Shaw in this play because he threw it on time and he threw it into the area you'd like. That's a tough catch for Shaq Rowland. Former Mr. Football in the state of South Carolina. He's good enough to make that catch.
A good job stepping up in the pocket, too, and delivering the football. I mean, he threw it right over the corner. The corner had a chance to make a play. Giles, he put it only where Shaq could catch it.
So Elliott Fry trying from 39 yards out. His longest field goal in high school was 44.
What kicking problems, Reese?
Boots that. I just said kicking questions. I didn't necessarily say problems. And right now, Fry has had the answer, and Shaq Rowland almost had his second touchdown grab of the night. Missed it by that much. Needs to hang on to that. North Carolina's down by 10.
He's coming. He's gonna get you. It's game time.
Jadeveon Clowney. Leveled by Jadeveon Clowney.
The monster, like the Boogie Monster.
He is a monster to opposing offenses. South Carolina, Jadeveon Clowney's team up on the Tar Heels 10-0 in the first quarter. Glad to have you with us from Columbia. Reese Davis, Jesse Palmer, and David Pollack. Haven't called Clowney's name much, but then again, he hasn't had to be on the field much.
No, the South Carolina offense is taking the ball, and they've run 15 plays already. And I tell you what, this is a danger zone because now this North Carolina offense comes back on the field with their tempo, and if they give it right back to South Carolina's offense, it's going to be some tired Tar Heels.
Landonard taking care of the kickoff duties. Drives it low, and looks as if maybe his second kickoff of the night was headed out of bounds, but it bounced up to Sean Tapley. That way out close to the 25-yard line. Samantha Ponder on what the Tar Heel offensive line is having to do to deal with Clowney.
Yeah, Reese, that was the only positive for UNC there on that last series. They had plenty of time for their offensive line coach to ask the guys questions, and he had lots of questions for them, trying to ask him, can you reach him? Where's he getting lined up? Telling them they've got to use their splits for space, and especially telling his guards that they've got to help out their tackles. Obviously, they have a freshman right tackle in John Heck. They're asking the guards and James Hurst to help out on the offensive line, guys.
That's exactly, Sam, where Clowney's lined up on that freshman right tackle.
He wasn't responsible for him there. Clowney is chasing from the backside. He was after P.J. Thorpe, who made the catch, but Jimmy Legree had it covered up, second and long.
So you've seen the ways North Carolina's tried to handle him. You chip him with the running back, you throw screens, you throw away from him. He's not a factor if the football's on the other side of the field.
Oh, bootleg. Renner gets rid of it. It was low for Tab. Now, one thing about sack totals that you might see tonight, historically, Larry Fedora's offense, not only at North Carolina, but at Southern Mississippi before that, they get rid of the football. They don't give up a lot of sacks.
No. And they're a high percentage offense. They want to dink and dunk. They're not as inclined to go down the field, but This is exactly where the offense doesn't want to be. If this continues, where you're in third and long situations, it's a lose all night.
But you know what, David, I would say that that last incompletion was probably caused by Clowney. Renner knew who was coming after him, and he's after him now. Bren gets rid of it. See if the catch is made along the sidelines, but it is short of the first down. It was T.J. Thorpe. He didn't have enough for the first. Renner got out of there, avoided the sack, but here comes 7.
If North Carolina is going to double team Jadeveon Clowney all night, that means there are one-on-ones in other parts of the field. In that example, defensive tackle J.T. Surratt won his one-on-one, forced Bryn Renner out of the pocket.
And it's not always a double team. And just like right there, they slid the protection to him. So you got a freshman tackle, John Heck, who knows he has help inside. So he oversets to the outside. And Clowney comes inside, but he has help. That's okay. Renner's just got to find a place to go with the ball.
Tommy Hibbert drives Victor Hampton inside his 25. Victor's got an alley. Whoa, and he took a big hit as he crossed the 35. Big number 91, Alan Champagne, popping the cork and knocking
no penalty
on his tail.
Well, and the cork is solid, Reese Davis.
No targeting for that, just a good special teams hit. You're watching the SEC on ESPN from Williams-Brice Stadium in Columbia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and South Carolina. Don't forget, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series and Atlanta coverage starting on ESPN Sunday at 7, I should say. It's available live on Watch ESPN. As we come down the gut of the season, Jimmy Johnson's the points leader, but man, he's got a mirror full of old Clint Boyer. He's just 18 points behind. Matt Kenseth won the race last week in Bristol. You can see coverage this weekend, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series from Atlanta. South Carolina is leaving tread marks on North Carolina right now. They've outgained them 140 to 27. 4:01 remaining in the first quarter. Gamecocks have scored both times they've had the football. Touchdown and a field goal, and Connor Shaw is running with it. A good gain on first down. He'll be stopped a few yards short of the first.
And this was what makes Connor Shaw so tough to defend is he starts throwing the football well, they're running it well, and now you bring a quarterback draw. I mean, you get the numbers match up, and he's such a good runner. It makes him incredibly difficult.
You saw in that last play, North Carolina now starting to get a little impatient on defense. They can't stop the run with only 6 defenders in the box. They're going to start bringing pressure and a safety down closer to see if they can get it stopped.
Jesse, this is a defense, even with Sylvester Williams on the defensive line a year ago. Draft choice, first rounder. He gave up 30 points 6 times last year, an average allowing 33 points per game in ACC play. Shaw has it complete to Nick Jones, not enough for the first down.
So you wonder what that confidence level is like for North Carolina on that side of the football. A little demoralizing so far in this game, the way South Carolina's been able to run the football. If they convert this third down, they're further demoralized.
They do, and they are. Brandon Wilds inside the Tar Heel 45.
And because of South Carolina running so many plays, North Carolina substitute, and they only got 2 defensive linemen in the game against all that beef that you talked about earlier. All South Carolina has to do is that.
And how about this? North Carolina is known for the tempo, and though it didn't necessarily affect the Tar Heels as Jabari Price makes the tackle, North Carolina wasn't set when South Carolina snapped the ball that
There's
time.
a lot of youth and inexperience on that side of the football for the Tar Heels. They have 5 freshmen and 6 walk-ons in their 3D. That's cause for concern right now, aside from the fact that you're getting blown off the ball.
There's the starting middle linebacker, Jeff Schottmer, who at one time was a walk-on. Some injuries and attrition pushed him as a sophomore into a starting role. Connor Shaw pulls it down, he'll take off. Shaw inside the 40 before he's upended. Once again, Jabari Price. They'll mark him at the 39. Needs to get it to the 34 to move the chain.
Now, there was a little bit of pressure on this play, but I think this is an example where Connor Shaw didn't quite trust what he had over the middle of the field. I thought he had an opportunity on this throw to throw the in route right now. If he lets it go, there's a wide receiver wide open. Instead, he doesn't trust it and doesn't get the gain he could have gotten.
We'll talk a little bit more about that over the course of the night and why trust in Steve Spurrier's offense when to throw the ball is a little bit different from other offenses.
It's very, very different. It can take a long time to develop.
On 3rd and 4. Shaw dumps it. first down. The grab is made by K.J. Brent into the game.
And Reese, here's another example where Connor Shaw had a wide receiver wide open at the beginning of the play. Now Connor Shaw coming off the field right now. The backup Dylan Thompson, who of course last year 1-2 starts, was huge in their bowl game against Michigan. He's on the field. Also good in the finale against Clemson, and brings more touch, brings more accuracy, a better passer. The playbook definitely changes when he's in the game.
Dylan threw that winning touchdown toss to Bruce Ellington. Now Thompson off the bench, let it go, wide open receiver, touchdown South Carolina. It's Kane Whitehurst. So Dylan didn't need to get warmed up by handing off or anything first?
No, and this is the difference. You know, we talked about coming to this season, who was going to play quarterback for South Carolina. They got two good ones now. And Dylan Thompson showed himself last year really well. Look at the patience in the pocket, wait for his wide receiver to come open. He can throw the football. It really gives Spurrier two options as opposed to none that he's had in the past when he's been in South Carolina.
How about that? Both quarterbacks throw a touchdown on their first attempt in this game. Wow.
Extra point is coming, and how about this? The last two passes that Dylan Thompson has attempted, both have wound up in touchdowns. Gamecocks laying a beat down on the heels. Dylan Thompson, first pass of the season, results in a touchdown. Kane Whitehurst, a squad member, his first catch of the season, results in a touchdown. Here's Connor Shaw, who threw one earlier. Let's see what happened to Connor on this last run before Shaw replaced him.
Well, Reese, it's a good run, and he does good things with his feet, but get down. You got 17 yards down the field. If you want to stick and you want to last this season, he's got to learn to get down and not take the punishment.
We talked to him about that this week, and he felt as if he's done a better job of that. But you remember last year we had the opening game against Vanderbilt. Certainly that was a little bit more of a freaky play when he got hit as he was trying to get down. But, you know, they have two good quarterbacks, but you want to keep them healthy. Final minute of the first quarter. Sean Tapley trying to get something going. On the heels, Tapley gets it to the 30-yard line. North Carolina will try to get it going as we check in for the first time with Chris Cotter.
Reese delivering the Coors Light cold hard facts on a federal judge's announcement of an agreement between the NFL and over 18,000 retired players today on a $765 million settlement over concussion-related brain injuries. The league will use the funds to compensate victims, pay for medical exams, and underwrite research. For more, stay tuned in the Sports Center over on ESPN News. Reese?
All right, Chris, 36 seconds left in the first quarter. Bryn Renner hasn't had much of a chance to operate. The freshman, Ryan Switzer from Charleston, West Virginia. He's a quick guy with great acceleration as well. Two-time West Virginia Player of the Year as Jadeveon Clowney is getting a break.
So strike while you can if you're North Carolina. The monster's not on the field. You better make hay right now. Take advantage of this.
2nd and 2. Romar Morris. And there's a flag coming down, and I believe a good game by Morris is going to come back. Now the ball popped loose late, and South Carolina recovered it. T.J. Holloman is the one who pounced on the ball, but there's a flag. Let's sort it out.
Holding, offense number 71, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
That's the freshman, John Heck. I mentioned that he is the son of Andy Heck, the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line coach and former All-American at Notre Dame, was on the national championship team, coached by Lou Holtz back in '88. His son, John, getting a bit of a baptism by fire tonight.
I like what we just saw from Bryn Renner. Tremendous leadership, giving his young freshman tackle a tap on the head. Hey, man, it's okay. Stay with me. Big down coming up.
So rather than a first down, close to midfield, it'll be 2nd and 12 from inside their own 30.
Look for Eric Ebron here in the slot at the top to work over the middle of the field versus big zone coverage. He's got to be a weapon for Carolina tonight, North Carolina.
There's 1 second remaining on the clock. So it appears time has expired in the first quarter, and it has. Not the type of start that Larry Fedora and the Tar Heels had hoped for, and precisely what the HBC, the head ball coach, wanted to get going. North Carolina and South Carolina, the grand entrance and a grand start. Second quarter coming, cocky by 17. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear tonight from Columbia, South Carolina. Tires that go the distance make Goodyear a fan favorite. Goodyear, more driven. Tire marks being left on North Carolina through the first quarter. Number 6 South Carolina with a 17-0 lead. Glad to have you with us on opening night of the 2013 college football season. Reese Davis, Jesse Palmer, David Pollock, and Samantha Ponder. First of 40-plus games on the ESPN networks over this Labor Day weekend. Hope you'll spend the weekend with us. Bryn Renner and the North Carolina offense haven't been able to get much going. They're going to try to screen to Romar Morris. He's got tremendous speed, makes the guy miss, and another. Romar has the first down. And, David, that's exactly what North Carolina needed to be able to stay on the field a little bit more. Pick up the 17.
You know, absolutely, because, first of all, the pass rush is something they're worried about, so they want to run screens. But Renner had an opportunity with Giovanni Bernard last year to just dump it off and big plays to happen. Romar Morris is a guy that they need to step up and do the same thing this year.
Hit in the backfield, A.J. Blue, 24-year-old senior running back from Dallas, North Carolina, bring up a second down and 12.
But guys, you know what was big about that? Was getting a first down.
Right.
Giving their defense a chance to get a breather. We've seen a lot of 3-and-outs. True, they had a quarter change, so they had a couple of extra minutes. But getting that first down was big to give that defense a chance to be 100% when they get back on the field.
The guy we have not heard from tonight at the top of your screen, Quinshad Davis. You see how tight the coverage is on the wide receivers in North Carolina. Renner. Flag coming in there. I think we're going to get another hold as Renner is hit short of the 50. Dennis Hennigan talking it over. Might have gotten Hurst on that.
Holding, offense number 68, 10-yard penalty, second down.
I think a big reason why people think the SEC has the best defenses in the country, it's the depth they have on the defensive line. And even though Clowney's out of the game right now, guys, South Carolina still bringing a lot of heat. On that play, Darius English almost looked like he just nosedived.
He's a guy that Whammy Ward says is going to be the next great rusher at South Carolina, but I'm not sure I like that call.
Don't ask Davey. He's a defensive lineman.
Did you think that was a hold?
It's always holding. There's holding on every play, Reese. You just got to find it.
Of course there is.
Second and 21 after the penalty. Mishandled on the handoff. Ball's on the ground. And I think Eric Ebron saved the day, at least temporarily, for the Tar Heels. Now they need to find a way to get the ball to Eric and not by rolling it on the ground.
and he's a special athlete. I mean, he holds up fine, he gets the run, but he's a dynamic athlete. You see Bryn Renner, and this is one thing that North Carolina does that I don't understand. Bryn Renner doesn't scare me with his feet, and definitely not on second 25. So when they run this package with him in the zone read in the middle of the field, I'm not threatened by the quarterback run at all.
Mason Harris and Darius English, the rushers. They'll run that tunnel screen. Sean Tapley doesn't always love it, and we have a late flag coming in. Not necessarily late because it was inaccurate. It sort of flew in at the end of the play. Have a face mask, I believe.
Personal foul. Wow. Defense number 90 grabbing the face mask. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Wow.
That is a gargantuan break for North Carolina.
It allows this offense to stay on the field, to maintain the drive, and as a defense, you were so dominant just a moment ago, Dave, and you have a dumb penalty like that, which allows them to keep possession.
And Chaz Sutton is a really good player, and Jadeveon Clowney's going to get all the headlines. He drops back into coverage, and you see him fly in there late in the play. You're going to see him coming in, and it looked like a shirt grab to me, but Lord knows we have to throw penalties if it's close nowadays.
We'll spend a little time talking about that, too. Renner going to take a shot. There's Ebron, too tall for him. And did you see Victor Hampton pull up a little bit right there? And that is the result likely of the new penalties for the targeting foul, which players can be ejected if you take some of those so-called blow-up shots. Watch Hampton here.
Very, very smart play. Yeah, and Lorenzo Ward has been coaching his secondary on this new rule because he thinks that's where it's the most pertinent. That's where those hits more often occur.
And Ebron left his feet a little bit too early. He's got to keep running as far as he can, then jump up and try to get it.
But guys,
easy to say when you're not getting whacked.
Guys, why is Jadeveon Clowney not back in the game yet for South Carolina?
I think just getting a rush, or a rest, I should say, and the other guys have been putting a rush on, but now rushing into the middle of the field is A.J. Blue. And Blue sort of tripped over his own feet.
There you go, Jesse. Now you come.
Well, you know, okay, I get
There you go, big fella. Come on back in.
I get that you want to give him a break, but I mean, this drive's been going on for 7 minutes, plus you had the quarter change. Get your best defenders back on the field. Here he comes, pushing the pocket. Open man along the sideline and reaching and not being able to pull it down inbounds. And the wide receiver, number 81, Kendrick Singleton.
And I think North Carolina is doing a good thing by, they're not trying to run their tempo right now. They're trying to slow it down so they can give their defense a rest. But right there, Brent Renner, he's a great quarterback. If he does a great job with his reads, he's got to make that throw. He's got to put it a little bit more in a line and give his receiver a chance to catch it. He's got to play big. He's got to carry his team tonight against this team. Now at right end.
Move him around, brother.
Yeah.
They give it to Blue right behind Clowney. Big blocking up front of the entire offensive line, and Blue gets close to the first down marker. I think he's going to be about a yard short.
North Carolina has to do this. They have to have some semblance of a rushing attack to stay balanced to try and keep South Carolina off balance, guys.
Back to the ground, hit in the backfield, and Sutton, who was called for the face mask a few moments ago, will make it a 4th down play from North Carolina.
And Sutton's a baller. Don't make no mistake, Clowney's good, but Sutton's an all-SEC type caliber defensive end who's going to get some good looks opposite Clowney because he's going to get a lot of double teams. It's not just the Clowney show. Kelsey Quarles is a good player at D tackle. Chaz Sutton at defense, defensive end. There's a lot of guys up front that can play for South Carolina.
This will be a full timeout.
They have linebackers who are speedy but inexperienced, but so far the Gamecock defense has held up. 4th down when you come back. Opening night of the 2013 season, you're watching the SEC on ESPN. Williams-Brice Stadium, Columbia, South Carolina. Gamecocks with a 17-0 lead on North Carolina. There is Jadeveon Clowney. Back into the game, and the Tar Heels face a 4th down. Larry Fedora deciding not to try to get points on the board and from the 25. They'll try to pick up the 2. Clowney might have been in the neutral zone. Jack Tabb has the grab for the first down, so it won't matter as North Carolina picks up the first down inside the 15.
Yeah, and there's no doubt about it. I mean, it's an easy call. Clowney jumps off sides. You're okay with those occasionally because you want to show up and you want to be aggressive. But here's the thing, you can't do it on 4th down. So you can't. On 4th down, you got to be a little smarter.
And especially at home, too, David. You talked in the open about the noise and how that helps pass rushers at home. That can't happen when the crowd's loud on a big 4th down like that, backed up in their own end.
North Carolina has been staggered by a couple of haymakers early, but if the Tar Heels could turn this drive into a touchdown, we got a game working. First down for Brent Renner. Back to the ground. That's worked a couple of times. Romar Morris, short game. A.J. Blues had nice pickups on inside handoffs too.
And Romar Morris looks different when he touches the football. He's quicker. He can make you miss. He's really a guy with that zone read that you can get inside and make guys miss and make good things happen.
He's run track at North Carolina. He's got the great speed. As Renner throws into traffic in the end zone, he was looking for Eric Ebron. Let's check in with Samantha Ponder on the sideline.
Reese, this is the situation that South Carolina defensive coordinator Lorenzo Ward said was an unknown because he didn't know how his defense would respond to adversity because they're lacking vocal leadership. He said DJ Swearinger was that guy last year when they lost him. They lost vocal leadership. Very quiet on the defensive side right now. We'll see if somebody steps up.
And Clowney trotting to the sideline on this 3rd and 8.
It makes you wonder about his conditioning right away. If he's tired and can't go, North Carolina's got to capitalize. Where's been Quinshot Davis, the top of the screen?
And Ebron on the same side, your two big targets.
Well, one-on-one, they like going to Davis, but they don't. Instead, it'll be Ebron underneath. Eric is inside the 5, close to the 4. That's where he needed to get for the first down. Dietrich Marcus made the stop, but it'll be first and goal for the Tar Heels.
And a great job catching the ball, getting north and south, and getting the first down.
Back to the ground. Morris looking for the corner, instead finding a Gamecock, and he got nothing. That third down play, exactly who Renner wanted to go to, and Ebron as we check in quickly with Sam again.
Reese Clowney's coming back in right now, but he was having a hard time catching his breath after that last play, just like you guys just said. He does have the temperature management system in his pads, giving him cool air, but he was having a very hard time. If you look at him up close right now, still trying to catch his breath. Maybe conditioning an issue, even though they told us he's in the best shape of his career this year.
That has been the knock on Jadeveon in the past, if there was one, is the stamina. 16th play of the drive. Renner wide open, and there's the first catch of the night for Quinshot Davis, and a touchdown for North Carolina.
What a drive by the Tar Heels. That was a 16-play drive, and I love this pass route down deep. You got man-to-man coverage, 2 hitches, and a slant in the back of the end zone. Nice job anticipating. Quinshot Davis just burned Victor Hampton off the line of scrimmage. Pitch and catch.
Quinshot Davis, the only Tar Heel from the state of South Carolina, coming in and making his first grab and making it a score. Tar Heels wanted to see if they could get numbers and perhaps sneak in a 2-point conversion. It'll be Thomas Moore. They'll take the 1. And the Tar Heels look to be on the ropes early, but now Clowney a little bit winded, and North Carolina struck back with a score.
ESPN College Football Primetime. Brought to you by Ally Bank. Your money needs an ally. Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich. And Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
Bryn Renner just threw the 55th touchdown pass of his career. That's 13 short of the North Carolina all-time record. Get the Tar Heels back in the game. Quinshot Davis caught it. We got a glimpse of Jadeveon Clowney on the sideline. We talked about him being in the best shape of his life, but as Samantha Ponder told us, a little bit winded. Less to do with conditioning than what he's being forced to defend right now, David, in your judgment?
Yeah, and it's an offense. Everybody in the country is talking about playing faster, not slower, for a reason. It negates the ability of your defensive linemen, especially when you throw screens all over the place, to run everywhere, cover, do all kinds of things.
Victor Hampton brought it out of the end zone. For a second, it looked as if he might be able to race to the left sideline, but instead he stopped before he gets to the 25. So he picked up a few more yards if he just stayed put. South Carolina hasn't been stopped tonight. Touchdown, field goal, touchdown, and they have it back for the 4th time. It is a big weekend for football in the Palmetto State. This one tonight to kick off the season. Then Saturday night on ABC, number 5 Georgia taking on Taj Boyd and the Tigers in what David Pollack is now calling the Death Valley after Clemson beat LSU in the bowl game last year. College Game Day is going to be there all weekend. 4-hour extravaganza leading into Texas A&M and Rice at 1 o'clock Eastern time Saturday. Tremendous way to start the season. And with these 2 games, the opening night game here and the game a couple hours or so away in Clemson with Georgia coming in. We're saying biggest opening weekend for college football in the history of the state. A couple of teams with aspirations of winning championships trying to get off to a good start. And North Carolina defense, which hasn't slowed down the Gamecocks, get a stop from Ethan Farmer.
But here's a great opportunity, guys, for North Carolina to make a stand. That last drive by North Carolina's offense was 16 plays. So they're 100% riled up. Get the momentum back on the road in a hostile environment. Create a 3 and out. Give the football back to Bryn Renner.
They have to affect Connor Shaw in the pocket. They haven't been able to do it yet. He's had all the time in the world, then can scramble when he wants to.
Here's Shaw, who will dump it out, and the flag comes flying in. Mike Davis is unable to hold on. We saw Shaw go out of the game. Dylan Thompson threw a touchdown pass after he took a lick on a scramble. Now the Gamecocks are going to have to back up after a hole.
And they affected Connor Shaw on that play. They finally got somebody in his face.
Holding, 71 offense, 10-yard penalty, second down.
That's Brandon Shell, the big sophomore right tackle from Goose Creek.
And watch here. Watch the ET. Watch him come underneath right here. You see the defensive tackle come outside, actually switch the ends, put Martin inside, got pressure in Connor Shaw's face and made him throw the football.
Second down and 19. Vic Coning's been able to settle that defense down. Shaw's going to run it again. Nowhere to run it. It'll be 3rd and 20 or 21.
You know, penalties have all of a sudden become a big issue for South Carolina. That last touchdown drive was kept alive by a personal foul face mask.
Phantom face mask.
Jadeveon Clowney went offside on 4th down. Yep. Now you get this big holding penalty on offense. Here you are 3rd in California. South Carolina's got to be smarter, guys.
To be fair, though, the Clowney penalty was declined, which point still well taken. Penalties at inopportune times.
And the Sutton penalty was phantom.
Yeah, well, right. Looked like he might have touched the face mask, but then grabbed the jersey. Officials called the face mask. And Shaw on 3rd and 20 has to escape the end zone, has to not get a safety. And now Connor almost threw an interception. It went through the hands of Jabari Price. And for the first time tonight, the Tar Heels forced the Gamecocks to punt, and they should get tremendous field position.
So Vic Kenning dialing up some different pressures, Davey. First, we saw the tackle end game on the last pressure. This time, he brings pressure from the field to force shot outside the pocket.
And 3rd and 21, he brought pressure. A lot of people just drop back and play it safe. He was like, I'm coming after him. Now you got an opportunity to get your offense the football again. And that big tempo word we talked about, getting Clowney and these boys tired, now you got an opportunity to do a little bit more of it.
Tyler Hall is going to punt it to TJ Thorpe. Thorpe, who missed last season with a broken foot, is a dangerous return man, but he didn't hang on to the football. The muff, and South Carolina recovers it as Demir Bird. Well, momentum change. There is a flag on the field. Let's see what that's for. It's going to be on North Carolina.
That is a potential game-changing type play. Definitely momentum shifting. We just talked about how South Carolina had to be more disciplined. Now North Carolina on special teams with a big cough up.
Now Thorpe must muff that punt, and assuming everything stands up as we anticipate it will. Is this a good... I thought Dennis Hennigan was going to come to make the call, and here he comes.
Holding, number 8 on the defense. That penalty is declined. First down.
We take a look at this muffed punt again. Is this the spot here? North Carolina's regained a little momentum. Sudden change opportunity. Take a shot here.
Well, this is what defense now in the huddle going, take a shot, sudden change. And, you know, you just saw a little bit of lackluster offense by South Carolina, but you just got to, that just stings. That hurts. Defensively, you get a stop, you get them off the field, you're excited, get the ball back to your offense, and now you got to go right back out there. It's a killer.
Well, for the first time tonight, we're seeing Bruce Ellington, South Carolina's best wide receiver, lining up on the field. Keep an eye on him. He's deadly with the football in his hands, but he's had that hamstring injury all camp.
It didn't bother him much when he jogs, but when he tries to open it up full speed, he can feel it. Shaw, not necessarily a shot, but he fires complete. Shaq Rowland, who caught the first touchdown pass, showing some sticky hands.
Shaq Rowland's only 6'1", but at 6'1", he's one of the biggest wide receivers on this offense. And here he shows you the range with those long arms, able to make the tough catch.
Yeah, but 6'1" on this wide receiving core is a giant. I mean, you got 5'7", 5'9". I mean, definitely a bunch of guys that are tiny. In the red zone, you think of a guy too for him that you can throw him a jump ball. Shaw's playing nice too.
Now inside the 40. Shaw, now he's going to take a shot. One-on-one out there by himself, and couldn't quite get together with Rowland. It was Tim Scott on the cover. Shaw and most of the 80,000 plus here wanted pass interference penalty.
Shaw should be upset at himself.
Absolutely, Davey. Connor Shaw has to give Shaq Rowland an opportunity to make this play, and it's become apparent already. Shaq Rowland's going to be the deep threat in the South Carolina offense, but you got to give him a chance. Put it out in front of him. Shaw's got the arm strength.
I like the no call, too, by the way.
It was severely underthrown. Yeah, you don't bail out.
Don't bail out of bad play.
Tell you what, I'm a quarterback. I don't.
See if North Carolina can continue to bring pressure. It's affected South Carolina when they've been doing it.
Bailing out of it, just rushing 3. Shaw over the middle and too high. Nick Jones was going to run for a while. That pass had been on target.
See, there's an example of what can happen when you have short wide receivers. It's a much smaller target to throw at if you're the quarterback. Now, you still have to make that play.
Wait a minute.
You still have to make that play.
Hey, Dave, nothing to do with the short wide receiver. Hit him in the chest, dog.
You got to make the throw, but I'm saying if you got tall receivers coming across the middle, a bigger target to throw.
Dave, you know what he just did? He just blamed the official and just blamed the receiver for the last few plays of the old
quarterback's fault. You guys know that about me by now.
South Carolina's converted half of their 6 third downs.
Watch corner blitz here at the bottom of the screen.
Here he comes. Shaw steps up. Broken field for Ellington, and it's broken up. Good coverage alongside. Now Bruce Ellington exchanging some pleasantries. The Tar Heel defender, Kareem Martin, was applying the pressure.
I really would have liked to see South Carolina do a better job picking this up. Before the snap, North Carolina was piggybacking on top of the corner. Red bells, alarms, everything should be going off. As a quarterback, when you see a corner with a safety lined up 5 yards over top of him, that indicates it's going to be a corner blitz. They were not very well prepared for that in protection.
And T.J. Thorpe, who couldn't handle the last punt. It's picked up by his defense, although he's now standing about 40 yards deeper than he was on the last one he didn't handle. A good job on the punt from Tyler Hall, and he knocks it dead inside the 10. And rather than having it close to midfield as they would have if they handled the last punt cleanly, they'll have it inside their own 10. The fiery leader of the Gamecocks, Connor Shaw, exhorting his receivers to get the right target. The DirecTV drive to the National Championship Mobile Studios back on the road, providing coverage from the biggest stories in college football. The head Tar Heel, Larry Fedora, stopping by, visiting with our Sports Center and College Football Live crew here. Scott Van Pelt, Brian Greasy, Mark May, Lou Holtz, all here. We'll see them at halftime in just a little bit. And then, is that the bus you're hopping aboard to go to Clemson after the game tonight?
Absolutely, baby. Riding through the night, get some food. We got some more college football to watch, too.
And we do. Ole Miss and Vanderbilt coming up later tonight on ESPN. Samantha Ponder also riding down there. Clowney after Renner. And Renner gets back to the line of scrimmage, denying Jadeveon his first sack of the season, but certainly applying the pressure. It'll be second down and long.
Here's Jadeveon Clowney when he is rested. Watch the double team. Swims Hurst, blows up A.J. Blue, a tailback, and forces Renner out of the pocket. That's that rare pass rushing ability everybody talks about.
It's that quickness. I mean, you're just not supposed to move like that at 6'7", 270.
Defensive player of the year in the conference. Virtually everyone expects he'll be the #1 pick in the draft. Renner fires it for Sean Tapley. Had to get rid of it a little bit, but that's a ball Tapley needs to haul in.
That rare athleticism you talk about, cut blocking, the unbelievable balance and flexibility to stay on his feet. Now here's an empty set right now for North Carolina. You anticipate the offensive line will slide towards Clowney, or they're going to get this football out very, very quickly on some sort of screen. There are no backs to help Hurst at left tackle.
Now Blue shifts into the backfield. Wide snap. Renner will try to turn the corner, and he's not going to do it. Making the stop, Marcus Roberts. And it'll be 4th down, and the Tar Heels needed to pick up a first down there to try to create a little more room for their punter. Flip the field a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think this was supposed to be a shovel pass even. Looked like the bad snap took the timing of that play and blew it up.
It wasn't going to Renner, I can promise you that.
I know they weren't trying to get the first down with Brent Renner running. Missed opportunity, and now South Carolina with an opportunity to get the football back at midfield.
Victor Hampton standing close to the hinge drawing of Cocky's claw at field. Tommy Hibbert, a low line drive punt. Hampton will catch it on the run. Flag comes in. Hampton goes down to the 35-yard line. We have a North Carolina player who's hurt, holding a knee. Hampton also a little shaken up as he took a shot down toward the end of the play.
Number 1, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Block in the back, going to back it up. I believe that's number 67, Mac Lloyd, who's hurt. Here is Hampton, who's still being attended to. Just across the 35.
Oh, that's dangerous right there.
It's like his right leg stuck in the ground.
You see Ellerby kind of hit him with his shoulder pad right in the back of the helmet.
Now that's an example of one of the plays, one of the definitions of a defenseless player is a player on the ground. Hampton was that, and he took a shot and no flag. Just over 5 minutes to play in the first half. There is Victor Hampton, who returned the punt for South Carolina, being attended to after he took a shot from Brandon Ellerby. Now, one of the points of emphasis this year in college football is targeting. It's not a new rule. The rule's been on the books since 2008. The difference is this year players can be ejected if called for targeting. Ellerby was not. And it's important to note it doesn't have to be helmet-to-helmet contact in order to be targeting, but the initial contact to the head, particularly if it's a defenseless player. I sympathize with Ellerby to a degree until kind of right there. I'm not, probably not enough, but
I think if you're Ellerby as a defender, you know he's going to the ground. There was no shot of him keeping his balance. Therefore, I don't know if you have to take that shot as a defender.
But he's also on the ground. So how do you hit a target that's on the ground without lowering your head?
Well,
I mean, I'd have to get my head underneath the ground.
But it doesn't necessarily have to be the
it was an
initial contact
unnecessary
with
hit.
your helmet.
It wasn't a smart hit.
A targeting hit can be with a forearm, an elbow, or anything. As Shaw fires out and has his man Demir Bird down to the 30-yard line. And with all of the emphasis and with the news today, with the NFL settlement as a result of after effects of concussions, is something they're trying to get out of the game.
Watch how Shaw throws this football before his wide receiver, Demir Bird, even turns around. There's that anticipation we're talking about where Connor Shaw has to improve. He's done a pretty good job of that tonight.
And a flag comes in. Spurrier's running out, trying to get a timeout. I think they might have had too many guys on the flag.
Illegal substitution. Offense, 12 players in formation. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Samantha, what do you have on Victor Hampton?
Yeah, Reese, the head athletic trainer from South Carolina, says he is suffering from a neck sprain. They're taking him into the locker room right now for x-rays, so we won't know a little bit for a few more minutes at least, guys.
Wow.
That would be, Sam, a big loss for South Carolina because Victor Hampton is their best shutdown corner. And, of course, he's lining up tonight against Quinshot Davis, the best wide receiver for UNC.
And they're not deep at cornerback. That's not, I mean, their strength and depth is definitely on their defensive line. They can't afford to be losing the corner.
And they're not out of the woods here yet, but they do play Georgia next week, too. Shaw pulls it down to run again. Connor inside the 30. Dragged down by Trey Boston.
And it's more important how you rush a quarterback that can run. Defensive ends can't just fly up the field and lose contain. You can't just come inside. Everybody has to stay in their rush lanes and keep Connor Shaw in the pocket. He started hot. Look at the graphic, but if you keep him in the pocket and don't let him scramble and extend the play, he's a lot less effective.
You know, I'd like to see South Carolina get back to running the football a little bit. I mean, where did that go?
Yeah.
They had so much success just pushing UNC off the ball in the first quarter. They got to get back to that a little bit here, even though there's under 4 minutes to go in the half.
The South Carolina offense, which started off like a well-oiled machine, has hit some bumps in the road. Spurrier uses a timeout. Second down and a long play. South Carolina up 17-7 inside 4 minutes to play in the first half. Reese Davis, Jesse Palmer, David Pollock, Samantha Ponder, glad to have you with us on the opening night of the 2013 season. So right now, North Carolina probably missed an opportunity to draw a little bit closer with the muffed punt, but you get the sense right now the Tar Heels are in pretty good shape, given the way things started, at least.
They are, if they can hold South Carolina from scoring a touchdown here at the end of the half. I think it's even more demoralizing. You go in down 24-7, even though you are getting the ball back in the first half. This defense has to step up big right now.
Their defense doesn't have many answers. I'm not sure that they're going to be able to continually stop South Carolina. And offensively, they put a nice drive together that was also put together or helped out by South Carolina in penalties. So they're not out of the woods, but they do have to get a stop right now because they got to start putting something together on offense.
Crowd here at Williams-Brice, electric early. Quieting down a little bit, for a little something to rev them up again. Tar Heels trying to come up with another stop. Shaw has Bruce Ellington. Ellington's inside the 15, his first catch of the year. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Gamecocks, and now they're in the red zone.
Bruce Ellington is the best wide receiver South Carolina has, a 3-year starter at point guard on the basketball team. He's got that ability to get in and out of cuts and control his body. This throw is actually a little bit behind him. You see him put the foot in the ground, pluck the ball out of the air. It's a nice catch.
Led the team with 600 yards a season ago, had the game winner. 11 seconds to play in the Outback Bowl against Michigan. There's that run you were looking for. Plowing straight ahead is Mike Davis getting inside the 10. Kareem Martin on the stop.
I think South Carolina should be a great red zone team this year because of that offensive line. The best red zone teams every year, Davey, are the ones that can run the football. They should be that.
And the best red zone teams, too, are usually the ones that can run the quarterback as well. Right? Being able to pick up those extra guys. Yeah, but they're so much bigger, so much more physical. And then you spread them out like this right here, and Connor Shaw is a running back. So what do you protect? What do you stop?
They're taking their time right now. They want to bleed this clock as much as they can. Not give Bryn Renner a lot of time as he gets it back.
Shaw, Bird, well defended by North Carolina. Bird has a great track speed. Run a 6.66, 60-meter dash from the indoor. Fastest guy on South Carolina's team, but North Carolina didn't give him any room to maneuver down in the red zone. So a 3rd down and 6 coming.
And you have to put pressure on Shaw, but you have to put smart pressure. The defensive line have to be smart and make sure that they don't let him outside the pocket.
Might be a good idea to spy Connor Shaw here. This could be a possible quarterback draw play.
Biggest guy is tight end 89, Jarrell Adams. Shaw's being chased, and he has to throw it away. And South Carolina, we presume, will be forced to attempt a field goal, although there is a flag down in the end zone. And that has all the makings and marks of, see the pass interference call there. And it is against South Carolina rather than the defensive team.
Yeah, and you could see Jarrell Adams. Now the big tight end comes across the field, kind of just Debo's the D-bag.
You're not really
Child's please.
You're not allowed to do that.
Pass interference, offense number 89. The penalty is declined, 4th down.
Hey, look, Jarrell 6'6", weighs about 240. Does that use your size to your advantage?
Yeah, but the defender is allowed to hold his ground.
A little more subtle, right? A little more subtle in using the positioning. So Elliott Fry come on to try to make his 2nd field goal of the night. This one going to be from 27 yards out. Officially, let's call it 26. What we'll really say is that it's good. Gamecocks stretched their lead to 13 points with 92 seconds remaining to play in the first half. So Bryn Renner and the Tar Heels will get one more chance. Field goal just went through the uprights, and celebrating its 9th year sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. To date, Allstate has contributed more than $3 million in scholarship money. Well, we're just getting started. A great weekend of football to open this 2013 season. As we mentioned, 40-plus games on the ESPN networks. Doubleheader on Saturday. Chick-fil-A kickoff game from Atlanta. Another of the SEC-ACC matchups. #1 Alabama against Virginia Tech. And LSU and TCU, a top 20 A couple of teams squaring off at Jerry World in the Cowboys Classic. That's a great doubleheader on ESPN Saturday night.
Have you ever seen an offense right now more decimated than Virginia Tech? J.C. Coleman, their starting tailback, had 2 high ankle sprains a few weeks ago. Michael Holmes got kicked off the team. Another guy suspended for the game. Another guy had a career-ending ACL injury.
Starting tight end just got hurt.
You have 1 returning starter on the offensive line. You lost your 3 best wide receivers.
Hey, but there's good news. You play Alabama week 1.
Hey!
I was going to say, other than that, things are going great.
And Alabama can't play defense, so you're fine.
Yeah, you're good.
Virginia Tech with a new offensive coordinator, Scott Leffler, who was in his last game was at Auburn, and his offense didn't score against Alabama. We'll see if things change this time with Logan Thomas, who's hoping for a bounce-back season after a rough 2012. Kick goes into the end zone. North Carolina will have it on the 25. So Brent Renner is 92 seconds. If he has another 3,000-yard season, he'll be North Carolina's all-time leading passer. What have you seen from him in the first half?
Well, Brent Renner hasn't always had a lot of time to throw the football. For the most part, he's made the correct decisions, and he has distributed the football to his playmakers. Hasn't always been easy. They're going to need him to come up big right here in this last drive of the half.
And he hasn't been particularly great on the deeper balls. You know, he has to take more shots. And right here, known passing situations. Can they hold up front and give him some time? This will be a struggle for their offensive line.
A toss it to Romar Morris. Morris hits the corner. Clowney chases him down and hammers him as we're inside 90 seconds. And the deep ball, especially outside the hash, is the place where you think Renner struggles the most.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's great at getting through his progressions, 1, 2, 3, but stretching it out wide, throwing it deep is where he struggles a little bit.
Take a shot here on second and short if he wants. Running out of time, buying some more. Now Renner will throw. He's trying to get it to Quinshad Davis. It'll be 3rd down and a long one.
I think Brent Renner knows better than that. You can't take unnecessary sacks here in a 2-minute situation. He had a completion right over the football, which would have guaranteed a 1st down, and that's the key right now, because you have to generate points on this drive heading into halftime to maintain momentum.
And it also would have stopped the clock momentarily to move the chains. Even though North Carolina is a hurry-up, tempo-type offense, it would have given them a chance to set. Instead, they're looking at 3rd and 1. Quick to Davis, 1st down. He gets out of bounds to stop the clock. 56 seconds now remaining in the first half.
And Reese, 56 seconds is an eternity for this offense. With the tempo they can play at, 2 timeouts remaining, that's a lot of time for Brent Renner to operate, trying to get at least in a field goal range.
If they keep dinking and dunking the whole time, it won't be an eternity.
Renner wanted to take the shot, couldn't find a guy. Now in the middle of the field, a little too high for the freshman Ryan Switzer.
I think right there you see a microcosm in the difference between Connor Shaw and Brent Renner. Connor Shaw able to run the football, generate 1st down with his legs, and how that stresses a defense. Brent Renner, not quite the athlete Connor Shaw is, makes them a little bit more limited.
2nd down and 10. Heels inside their 40. Now Switzer will get it. Switzer couldn't keep his feet. Clock continuing to run. Fedora wisely opting to use a timeout here, is taking the Heels a few seconds to get back and get lined up. So we have 40 seconds left. You have 3rd down and long here. What would you expect to see?
To me, your biggest playmakers, your tight end Eric Ebron, wide receiver Quinshad Davis, and I think to Davey's point that he made earlier, I agree. I think Brent Renner's best throws are over the middle of the field. We haven't seen a lot of pressure from South Carolina yet on this drive. I think you look for something over the middle of the field to those 2 big targets.
And let's not forget, you started to use some tempo, and you see there's some sucking wind going on. And Clowney's tired.
Clowney had his hands on his knees there a second ago.
He stood up on a pass rush a second ago and just kind of stood there in a hand fight. But listen, it is tough when you do run plays back to back to back. But he talked about it this offseason, put in the work, ready to play hard the whole time. It's not going to be as easy as you think it is. Nobody's just going to show up and give it to you. You got to go out there and earn it. And that's the one critique I have watching him in the offseason. He doesn't consistently give the effort. If he does, it's a wrap.
North Carolina goes to the ground. That was a very conservative call, and it didn't fool anybody. So now 4th down.
On the tackle for the Gamecocks.
Jadeveon getting into the backfield. Instead, it just left room for Chaz Sutton to make the stop. And clock continues to run, and South Carolina is not going to bother to stop it. Larry Fedora is going to be content to go to the locker room still within a couple of touchdowns. Bruce Ellington's back to receive the punt, but he's not going to get a chance to do so. Clock strikes 0. South Carolina puts 20 on the board in the first half. North Carolina bowed up later in the first half, staying in the game. North Carolina will have the ball to start the second half. Would have been nice from their perspective to get a score on the board before halftime, to have back-to-back scores, a little game pressure on Clowney and the Gamecocks. But as it is, they'll come out with a hill to climb when we start the second half.
Hey, Gamecock fans, this is Marcus Lattimore.
Gamecocks got out of the chute quickly. Long touchdown pass to Shaq Rowland. Dylan Thompson came off the bench and threw another touchdown pass, but Fedora's team hanging in, and he's now with Sam Ponder.
Coach, you told us this week that you weren't as concerned about noise and the crowd as you were about your offense handling the emotional environment. What's your assessment of how they've done that?
I thought we did a poor job, actually, in the first half handling. I think we had too many guys who were geeked up. They just need to relax and play football. I mean, there's nothing that's happening in this game that hadn't happened in any game. So just relax and play.
Obviously, your offense is predicated a lot on multi-tempo looks. When you look at how you've gotten their defensive line with their hands on their knees, you've gotten them tired at times. What do you need to do to take advantage of those opportunities?
We got to keep moving the chains and just finish drives off.
All right, thanks, Coach. Guys.
Samantha, that was one of the stated goals for dealing with Jadeveon Clowney and the entire South Carolina defensive line. Try to wear them out. Did they have enough body blows over the course of the first half to pay dividends in the second half? Coming up, Scott, Mark, Lou, and Brian with the Land Rover halftime report. They'll look ahead to the other game in the Palmetto State this weekend, Georgia and Clemson, and the Mayday Minute when you come back.
Yes,
This is Dick's Sporting Goods Kickoff Week.
ESPN College Football Prime Time, served by Applebee's, part of Dick's Sporting Goods Kickoff Week. Jadeveon Clowney didn't have a lot of sacks, but his impact was felt, but not quite as much as that of the South Carolina offense. A couple of touchdown passes, South Carolina up 20-7. Glad to have you with us. ESPN College Football Prime Time, served by Applebee's. Second half just about to get started here at Williams-Brice Stadium as you enjoy on opening night the SEC on ESPN. The SEC hosting the ACC. One of 3 matchups between these two conferences this weekend. North Carolina will get the ball first to start the second half and hoping to cut into this 13-point deficit. Reese Davis, Jesse Palmer, David Pollack, Samantha Ponder here. How about the Home Depot coaching adjustments in the first half?
There's a variety of ways North Carolina slow down Jadeveon Clowney. You see chips by the running back. They've double-teamed him up front on the offensive line. They've used misdirection in their protections, pulling guards. They've also thrown screens over his head, and it's affected his win. Davey, you see right here, he's gotten a little bit tired.
Yeah, and you have to keep him guessing. You can't, and also, they also moved him around. They put him at the nose tackle, the left end, the right end, a little bit of linebacker walking around, but don't let them zone in on. He got tired, and he's got to make more impact plays, but he was still felt a little bit. Look at him moving around. Look at the different snaps.
There's 7 different places that Whammy Ward, the defensive coordinator, planned to line up Clowney. You see his productivity in the different spots. He's played 25 of the 34 snaps.
He hasn't made a huge impact play, but he's also been around the ball and causing North Carolina to do several different things that they wouldn't have to do normally.
Sean Tapley takes it inside his 5 from North Carolina. He's across the 25. And Tapley, who had a kickoff return for a touchdown last season against Virginia Tech, has a good return. That's where North Carolina will start as we check in with Samantha Ponder.
Reese, of course, I asked Steve Spurrier coming off the field if it was the said no, he got a little tired. He said Jadeveon also complained about a stomach virus that he heard about for the first time. But he said the main concern right now isn't defense, it's getting them to run the ball better offensively. We'll see if they can do that in the second half.
All right, Samantha. Clowney Bad stomach, fatigue, and all is in. Omar Morris, the first play from scrimmage in the second half. Carries it across the 35, and Victor Hampton, who was hit on that punt return earlier and had the sprained neck, is back in the game. That's him, number 27.
And that's huge for South Carolina defensively. Again, he's their best shutdown corner. He's matched up with Quinshad Davis.
Morris now not finding much running room, and he steps out of bounds. It'll bring up third and long. Chaz Sutton was the one able to string it out. So now North Carolina, which started sluggishly on offense in the first half, is in danger of going 3 and out with their first possession in the second half.
Yeah, and Brent Renner has been underwhelming. I mean, he's got to do a better job of pushing the ball down the field and making those shots when they're there, because otherwise South Carolina will squat on routes and stay right at the sticks.
Clowney collapsing the pocket, and Renner right on cue fires a dart to Quinshad Davis. That's a little bit more of what you're talking about, isn't it, Davey? Wanting him to throw on time, throw down the field.
Perfect job. Gets the snaps, looks left, and a great job by his receiver getting across the face. Davis does a good job, and Renner hits him in stride. He's got to take shots. Otherwise, South Carolina could just pin their ears and stay shallow.
Renner to Davis, double pass maybe, and Quinshad pulls it down. That was a backward pass. Took what he could get, maybe picked up 3.
And Davey, I agree with you fully. I understand Jadeveon Clowney's out there lining up all over the place.
Yeah.
But your left tackle, James Hurst, is a preseason All-American for a reason. He's a good player. So he's going to have to block him, and maybe you're going to have to help him. But this offense will not beat South Carolina dinking and dunking and throwing tunnel screens on him.
Second down and 7. So they are making some progress, maybe not with tunnel screens, but with slants. There's another slant to Quinshad Davis, going to be a little bit short of the first down.
James Hurst isn't good enough to block Jadeveon Clowney by himself all night, but here's a guy, you see what Brent Renner says about him. I've got 100% confidence in James Hurst. He's been with me 3 years. He's the best left tackle in the country, and my mom trusts him with my life.
His mom doesn't have to block Clowney.
His mom's also not a scout.
Well, now, wait a minute. You don't know Mom's credentials. She's been watching.
And listen, James Hurst has gone up against Robert Quinn in practice, and he's gone up against Quentin Copeland's in practice, 2 first-round picks. He's seen Daquan Bowers from Clemson. He's seen Bjorn Warner from Florida State. He's never yet seen a guy, though, as talented as Jadeveon Clowney.
Well, Clowney looks as if he's struggling out there. Meanwhile, it's 4th down as Morris was stopped short. North Carolina needs a yard, and it's a pretty long one. A.J. Blue has the first down to the 30-yard line, and North Carolina moves the sticks. They're at the 30, and touchdown here, and it's a little interesting here, fellas.
Tremendous surge by that right side of the offensive line. Remember, a lot of the inexperience is on that right side. The freshman at right tackle, a sophomore with only 4 starts at right guard. Playing very well here in the half.
Renner has Ebron out there, and Eric couldn't quite hold on to it. E.J. Gurley was on the coverage.
But again, I'm okay with him. He had a guy in the flat, but I'm okay with that because he's making South Carolina think about that now, making them cover deep. Otherwise, you know, they're going to be on to this high percentage dink and dunk all game long.
Davey, I also like that they're moving the pocket with him.
Yeah.
They're changing the launch point, so Jadeveon Clowney, Chaz Sutton, and company can't just pin their ears back and tee off 7 to 9 yards behind the center.
Clowney's taking a break. Quick pass out to Mark McNeil, the lacrosse player. It'll bring 3rd down and long. Hampton making the stop.
And if you're going to do that, I wouldn't throw it at Victor Hampton. That guy is physical. He's a press corner, get in your face. You see him on screens. He'll play that screen. He'll be physical and run support. That was a great job at the cornerback spot. I guess the neck's okay.
And one of the things they wanted to do was take the air out of the coverage, too.
Absolutely.
I think if you're South Carolina, guys, you get double coverage right now with safety help on Quinshad Davis. That's what they're doing.
Renner gets rid of it. Morris has a lot of Garnett around him and no chance to get anywhere close to the first down. And again, it's Victor Hampton, who appears to be the picture of health in the early going to the 3rd quarter.
And it was Darius English, the other defensive end, with a speed rush, getting to Brent Renner, making him move his feet right away.
Now decision time if you're Larry Fedora. 4th down, you're on the 30-yard line. That'd be about a 47-yard field goal. Make this a 10-point game. He wants to go for it on 4th and 10.
Well, The longest field goal of Thomas Moore's career was a 46-yarder against Duke, so that's not always indicative of where the range is, but one would think you're right on the edge of his range to begin with. So 10 yards needed for the first down from Renner. Buying some time, firing a dart. First down, North Carolina, and it's Mark McNeil again. Carolina quickly to the line of scrimmage, wanting to get another play off inside the red zone. Big fourth down completion from Renner.
Yeah, and no Clowney, and great protection by the offensive line, getting more confidence up front.
Now Clowney's back. A.J. Blue brought down. That might be a face mask or a horse collar as the flag came in on the tackle. Instead, it's holding.
Number 85, 10-yard penalty, first down.
All right, there was a penalty on that play. South Carolina's defense right now, guys, is absolutely gassed. They tried to get a late substitution right there. There were still 2 defensive linemen jogging off the field. They were walking. They were so tired. This tempo from North Carolina on this opening drive really wearing them down.
And you know what it's like? This was part of North Carolina's game plan. It's almost like in a boxing match. Body blow, body blow, body blow in the first half. Now will it pay off in the second? Will the tempo wear them down?
And you can't simulate this in practice. As much as your offense wants to try to give you good looks, you're not going to get this kind of offense because this is year 2 of them doing it every single day in practice, and they're getting better and more improved with North Carolina. Empty set now for Renner.
But the holding penalty on Ebron makes it 3rd and 20. Hurst does a good job on Clowney. Renner pulls it down, and he slides at the 20. Coming in there late on the hit, it appeared, was Sky Moore, freshman.
He said Hurst had his back.
How about this?
Well,
we weren't listening.
It's easier to block Clowney when he's a bit tired. And I think, Davey, this is a part where that depth on the defensive line for South Carolina has got to show up right now. A lot of the backups in the game at a critical junction, they got to start playing big. They got to play like first-teamers right now.
Renner's hit 5 of 6 on the drive. They'll go to the ground with Morris. Morris still on his feet, inside the 10 to the 5-yard line, and North Carolina is knocking on the door.
It's a different defense when they're tired, and you're seeing that right now. This inexperienced offensive line from North Carolina, they're getting a ton of push. How about the backside pull from guard Caleb Peterson, knocking Darius English out of the play? They're looking very physical right now. They're looking like they're in better shape than South Carolina.
Caleb Peterson, the freshman from Auburn, Alabama. Blake Anderson, the offensive coordinator, says his name doesn't come up much anymore. Doesn't miss assignments. One of the strongest guys on the team. Did a good job on the pull. So it's 1st and goal now for the Tar Heels as they try to draw within a single score. And a 16-play drive for a touchdown. Now here comes snap number 14. On the ground again, and good push from the middle of that North Carolina offensive line.
Take a look again, going back and seeing Jadeveon Clowney here on that short yardage. Eric Ebron taking him one-on-one. That's a tight end who's only 240 pounds.
North Carolina just trying to slam it in with the running game. T.J. Holloman there to make it 3rd and goal. Now 3rd and goal. What do you want to see from Renner here?
I like the way they're running it, but I like the size of Quinshad Davis at wide receiver on a jump ball or a back shoulder throw at wide receiver, 6'4".
Well, I'm fine with North Carolina running it, but if you're going to run it right between the tackles, I want A.J. Blue running it. I mean, if you're going to get Romar Morris, let him get on the edges a little bit, but down here near the goal line, they love the little zone read with Renner, and he will keep it.
There's Quinshad at the top, press coverage.
Any ISO matchup with Quinshad they like. Renner. Does he have enough? No, instead he throws it toward the end zone. Changed his mind a couple of times, and it'll be 4th down and goal.
Looked like Bryn Renner wanted to throw to the top of the screen on Quinshad Davis. It took a little time for the route to open up. He had him on an in route. You'll see it right up here. But I think he clears open right there. He keeps his eyes downfield. I think there's a throw to be made.
Well, he had Ebron on a little option, too, it looked like, but he got held. So both those guys, his best 2 targets working in tandem.
And Thomas Moore going to try to salvage a field goal out of the drive, and he does. A 20-yarder, so North Carolina's opening possession is a productive one. 20-10 now as Renner has the heels back in it. Back in Columbia, South Carolina, time for the Trivia question. Jadeveon Clowney won the 2012 Ted Hendricks Award, which goes to the best defensive end in the country. Who is the only player to win the award twice? No hints. South Carolina defense looks a little gassed over on the sideline, but they were able to hold North Carolina to a field goal. So now the pressure turns to the Tar Heel defense to see if they can get the ball back quickly for their offense and give them another shot. Perfectly placed kickoff for the touchback. Gamecocks take it on the 25. Here's the answer. Clowney, the reigning Hendricks Award winner, the only guy to win it twice, is
Bam!
old number 47, David Pollock, won in 2003 and 2004.
Oh, this is my favorite part.
Hey, is Lou Holtz watching this? Woo! Lou Holtz loves this play. So tell me how you read the key on that, Davey. You knew what they were going to do, didn't you?
Offset back in the shotgun was 95% rollout, so the Holtz gave it away.
And there goes Mike Davis. This might turn the tide of momentum. Davis down the sideline. He is gone. Touchdown Gamecocks. A 75-yard run for Davis. And I just said, big series for North Carolina to get off the field. I don't think that's what Tar Heel fans had in mind when I say get off the field.
What a response by South Carolina, getting back to running the football, and they find an explosive play when they have to regain momentum.
South Carolina has a 65-yard touchdown pass tonight, now a 75-yard touchdown run. Just when it looked as if the Tar Heels were creeping back into the game, Gamecocks dropped the hammer.
Hey, I give that kicker an A. A for effort, but he's missing one on his shirt. You think Carolina? Come on.
Carolyn today. Just Carolyn today.
Carolyn's kicking the heck out of that ball.
It's been perfect.
Well, let's take a look at the replay and why this happened. You're going to see a corner come in for run support out of your right, and I think it was Jabari Price, and just absolutely whiffs. Here's a better look. Coming in from the outside. Listen, corners don't like to tackle, but that's a terrible job of not turning the ball back inside to your help and making a play.
And Gamecocks fans, it's going to be very, very hard to ever replace Marcus Lattimore with respect to his physicality and his ability to break tackles. But Mike Davis already is an upgrade at running back with respect to the home run. He's got better speed than Marcus Lattimore and the ability to take it to the house. That's something they didn't always have, even with Marcus Lattimore.
That's kind of sacrilegious to say, man.
How?
I don't know.
He wasn't fast.
He was powerful, broke tackles.
Broke tackles, but
that dude.
You never saw a run like that.
I say nothing bad about Marcus Lattimore.
That's Davis's first 100-yard game. I don't think he's saying anything bad about him, but just saying he didn't necessarily have breakaway speed.
I think he would have scored on that run, too.
I would agree with that, Jess. Price coming in and whiffing like that.
Hey, by the way,
Lattimore's one of those guys that didn't look fast unless you were trying to catch him from behind. Fair enough.
Generally, he ran you over. He ran three guys over. Hard to get the second one.
Now let's see if Sean Tapley have an answer in the return game. He does not. Does not make it to the 20-yard line. A great atmosphere in Williams-Brice Stadium tonight, and Saturday night it will be a sea of orange in Death Valley. Georgia and Clemson separated by an hour and a half or so of highway, but they don't play that often anymore. Great historical games. Legendary Larry Munson talking about Devin Butler going to reach for a long one here. A couple of teams with national championship aspirations, and up to 3 SEC-ACC matchups on the weekend. This game that we have tonight, the Virginia Tech-Alabama game, the ACC just going for upsets. In that game, the ACC team needs to win it. Tunnel screen, and McNeil has it. And he has a first down across the 30.
All right, this is a defining drive for South Carolina's defense. You just had a 17-play scoring drive from North Carolina. Now a 1-play touchdown drive by your offense. So here you are, right back on the field. Let's show up. Let's see what you've got without Jadeveon Clowney.
Omar Morris, strong, tough run up close to the 40.
And Jadeveon Clowney was gassed. I mean, he took himself out of the ball game. He was tired. I mean, there's nothing else you can say about it. Listen, he's the most talented guy in the country. This is an area, what is that? I mean, that's not effort. You control your effort.
And now the effort from North Carolina answer has been exemplary as they get into South Carolina territory, and Clowney getting the headgear buckled up. He still hasn't.
Guys, he's not.
Didn't make a tackle in the last drive. Flags flying as Morris has it again.
North Carolina right now is working at Mach 9 speed and tempo. I mean, they have really picked it up. South Carolina can't even get a substitution on the field right now with players jogging on the field. Clowney's tired even going back out there.
And every defensive lineman gets tired, takes plays off in college football. Don't act like they don't, but you just want to see more.
Illegal substitution, defense number 4, 5-yard penalty, first down.
His tempo is starting to rear its ugly head right now. You see guys jogging off, guys coming on slowly. There's miscommunication. And look, Brent Renner's ready to go. North Carolina's set up. They've got a lot of juice.
Well, and if they don't sub, you can't sub. I mean, especially on that, you know, first down right there, they're not going to let you substitute. They're going to do that every single time.
So after the penalty, it's 1st and 5. Clowney after Renner. And Renner goes down on the sack. Gerald Dixon Jr. was the first one to get there from the middle. That Gamecock defensive line.
So from here on out, guys, South Carolina has to win 1st and 2nd down and force North Carolina in obvious passing situations on 3rd and force them to slow down and get the right call in. But there's an example of that backup defensive line, Davey, getting some push and making a play.
And they're playing guys. They're rotating them in and out.
2nd and 11. Renner going to look like an option. He got down just before Clowney came over the top. And now Renner is cramping up. What do you think about the decision by Larry Fedora to run Renner?
I think Bryn Renner is a better athlete than most people give him credit for, but I don't think he's a legitimate weapon against this defense with their speed.
No, it makes no sense. Plus, he's a great passer. He's not built, you know, real big and strong. I don't like the idea to run him unless you're going to use him down by the goal line. That's the only time I support running Brent Renner.
It is a humid night here, and Renner appears, we hope, it's just a cramp. You got to look at number 12, Marquise Williams. He's a sophomore from Charlotte. He won the backup quarterback battle with a highly regarded true freshman, Mitch Trubisky, who was in for spring. Marquise actually missed spring. He had an academic issue and wasn't enrolled. Resolved that problem, came back, and did well. Sky Moore making the tackle on Renner. If we can see that knot coming up in the back of Renner's calf.
Now, if Marquise Williams is to play, he is a runner. And last year, he would spell Bryn Renner. Even when games were close, they had packages of plays for him to run and throw. He's more of a dual threat option. He presents a different problem now for Lorenzo Ward and the South Carolina defense.
And it's 3rd and 7. Do you want to get Renner back in on the 4th and short? Run it.
Marquise is going to keep it. Runs over one guy and another. And the short gain will be 4th down. Marquise's moment of infamy came last year in a game we called against Virginia. Quinshot Davis had tied the ACC record with 16 catches. They had Marquise in the game. Somebody realized he needed one more catch, so they just tried to throw him a hitch and get it. And Marquise threw a ground ball out there.
It was a two-hopper.
Yeah.
It was bad.
He got some grief from his teammates. He's a talented guy. Couldn't get up to first down that time, and North Carolina will be forced to punt it away. Hampton, fair catch at the 11, and North Carolina's attempt to answer the long run from Mike Davis goes for naught. North Carolina has run 22 offensive plays to just 1 South Carolina in the third quarter. The Gamecocks one play. It was a 75-yard touchdown run by Mike Davis. First down throughout the game tonight, not just in the third quarter, but Connor Shaw, the Gamecock offense, has been very productive. Brandon Wilds giving Mike Davis a break. He spins away from 1. Picks up 4, maybe 5 on first down. We check in with Chris Cotter.
Reese, it's time to remind everybody about the AT&T All-American Player of the Week. Back again this year. Now, last year, Jadeveon Clowney was the All-American Player of the Year. It's week 1, so if you want to get involved, you can text your vote to 34763 from your mobile device. Hey, maybe Mike Davis here in week 1 is a good choice. Back to you, Reese.
All right, Chris, Wilds picks up a couple, and with those 2 yards, it now means that South Carolina they're now going to give him 3. 173 yards rushing, 170 passing. Prior to that last carry, they were perfectly balanced.
And a lot more rushing to come. Yep. I mean, you've seen Steve Spurrier. When he gets up, he just wants to get out of here with a W. They'll run the football a lot the rest of this game.
And they got to get this first down, guys. This is huge to allow that defense to get a rest. Convert this. You got to do it on the ground, whatever it takes.
First down and more for Wilds across the 30, and the clock will run after the markers are set for the first down.
The difference in this offense, again, guys, can be this offensive line. It's the best Steve Spurrier has ever coached here in South Carolina. They have a lot of size. They got a lot of good push. And you see the head ball coach, he likes it. You don't have to throw 50 times a game to make him happy.
45 he doesn't mind, though. Nick Jones making the catch.
Not anymore. Back in your day, you used to throw it 45 times.
But see, even that little quick screen out to Nick Jones, that's the extension of a running game. Davey, you're absolutely right. It's a safe play. It continues to gobble up yardage. It gobbles up clock. It's a different attitude they can have this year. They should be able to wear SEC defenses down, I think. They've never been able to do that since he's been the head coach here.
Starting to wear down North Carolina. The defensive front really has been overwhelmed throughout the night. On the subject of conditioning, South Carolina's defensive line has gotten gassed. Is that strictly a tempo thing? Is it a first game thing, a humidity deal, or a cause for concern? It seems like a silly thing to say when you're up 27-10, but still.
It is not humidity because they practice in humidity all camp long.
It has been a cool summer here.
It is a tempo thing, and I think it's an effort thing, Davey, to be honest.
He's trying to present the responsible opposing view here.
Doing a good job over there.
Yeah, see, I'll be the one the defensive lineman like after the night, not you guys. Connor Shaw gets down to the 47. It'll be 2nd and 7.
But that's why you've seen more tempo in college football, is because the goal is for Larry Fedora in this offense to get defensive linemen tired, because you're not going to outman them. And especially when you got guys that are so athletic and strong and big, you want to try to get an advantage somehow. And that's what, there's no college football coach that came to this year as an offensive coordinator and said, I want to play slower. Every single one of them wants to play faster to get that advantage. Except for South Carolina right now. They want to play slow and bleed that clock.
Back to Wilds. A lot of running room. He'll be spotted really close first down. Might be, see where they end up marking him close to that yellow line. Maybe nose of the football short.
And guys, we're talking about the size. That left tackle, 53, he's 6'8", 341 pounds. That's Corey Robinson. That's the biggest lineman Steve Spurrier has ever coached in his life. The guy beside him, number 50, A.J. Kahn, he's a legit NFL prospect. I mean, he's pulling, he's a mauler, and these are the kinds of guys they have on this line this year. Experienced. It's just different.
Shaw sneaks ahead. Keep it inside a minute to go. In the third quarter, South Carolina has another first down, driving to perhaps put this game away.
And we see the weight difference again. They're outweighing North Carolina by 50 pounds a player. And being big and being heavy is really good. But South Carolina is also very athletic, guys. These guys can play in space. They can pull and move around. They're a legit offensive line.
And this is what they love to do most, is ground and pound,
Run block.
Shaw was perhaps going for the put-away shot. Instead, South Carolina gets a sack. Norkeithus Otis been active tonight in the final play of the third quarter. A positive one for the Tar Heel defense as Fedora and the Heels try to hang in. Do they have a fourth quarter rally in them? We'll see when you come back. You're watching the SEC on ESPN and 81,572 watching the first matchup between North Carolina and South Carolina since 2007. Aerial coverage tonight provided by Goodyear. Tires that go the distance make Goodyear a fan favorite. Goodyear, more driven. South Carolina opening the fourth quarter after Connor Shaw took a sack. You know, our stats guru at ESPN.com are coming up with a new quarterback rating. It's going to measure how effective all aspects of quarterback play are. Connor Shaw's rating from last year when they ran through the system wasn't that great, largely because he took a lot of sacks on first and second down, 18 of the 25 to back him up, put him behind the chains. He just took one there, a loss of 10 on the first down, make it 2nd and 20. Tried to get it out to Nick Jones. His arm was hit as he threw. Again, Norkeithus Otis, who, for my money, has probably been the best defender for North Carolina tonight.
No doubt about it. He stepped up, Davey. He's the one that's applied the most consistent pressure tonight.
Well, and you talked about it. We talked about the physical nature of the offensive line for South Carolina. Pass protection, is that going to be an issue down the road? You talked about Corey Robinson, 6'8", 341. Got beat around the corner pretty easily. Yep. There's a lot of guys down the road who's going to play. They can really put some pressure on the quarterback and come off the edge with some speed.
The point about Shaw certainly was not to diminish his great playmaking capabilities, which we thought we were about to see evidence there. That tackle made by Darius Lipford. Lipford playing for the first time tonight since the 2011 Independence Bowl. Hurt his knee in that game and then hurt it again and kept him out of last season. He is an outstanding athlete, and they need to have him in the middle of that defense. More SEC action coming up as soon as we're done. Ole Miss and Vanderbilt, 9:15 Eastern time. South Carolina, Tyler Hull going to have to punt it away to TJ Thorpe. Thorpe is standing at his own 10, and Hull almost had it blocked, but the ball was deflected. Therefore, no flag came out. The referee was right on top of it and immediately signaled that the ball had been touched, and it was Norkeithus Otis again trying to make a game-changing play for the Tar Heels. Just barely missed it. North Carolina trying to hang in the game. I love this first weekend of college football, just wall to wall.
Amen, brother.
Part of our Dick's Sporting Goods kickoff week continues Saturday night. A.J. McCarron leading the Crimson Tide, looking for an unprecedented three-peat national championship. Of course, the process won't allow them to talk about that just yet. Start with Virginia Tech in Atlanta, then LSU.
That's going to be a good one.
TCU.
Gary Patterson taking some shots at Les Miles.
Although Gary sort of later said he didn't intend it to be perceived as a shot necessarily. I think those two guys have a relationship. They're always trying to stir the pot. Tell you what we're talking about in a moment is Bryn Renner fires complete out to Thorpe. Now LSU running back Jeremy Hill, as most people know, has had some legal issues and not exactly certain where he stands, how much he'll play against TCU. Devontae Fields, the stand-on defensive end for TCU. Continue the story in a moment. It's A.J. Blue looking to get to that yellow line for the first down. He'd be a little bit short. Fields was announced suspended for TCU for the first couple of games for the situation within the university and TCU rules. That's been appealed, and now we're waiting to see whether he's going to play. And what David was talking about was that Gary made reference to the fact that you instill discipline by whether you let guys play or not and how you punish them. And tried to clean it up a little bit later after that, but that's what you were referring to with the shots supposedly between
false start,
two head coaches.
Offense number 5, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
And I'm not sure we know what Les is going to do yet either.
With Jeremy
he's
Hill.
been kind of coy about it, but
I think Jeremy Hill definitely deserves a suspension for what he did. I mean,
he had some previous legal troubles. He was on probation and he was involved in a fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Just in case people have missed some of the details. Fields, meanwhile, reinstated to a degree. Patterson saying this week that those who know him well have an idea of whether he'll play or not. The screen to A.J. Blue is going to get the first down and he gets out of bounds.
Tremendous play call by offensive coordinator Blake Anderson, anticipating pressure coming from the weak side of the field. They throw the screen right into the teeth of the blitz, and A.J. Blue able to make them pay. And here goes North Carolina again with that tempo right up at the line of scrimmage, ready to play.
First and 10 for Renner. Long throw to Ebron, and Renner just got it in there. Eric kept his concentration, made the grab. A dangerous throw. Hampton just missed the pick six.
Bryn Renner got very lucky on this throw. His feet weren't even close to being set when he made it. You see Jadeveon Clowney there kind of gingerly coming off the field.
Renner's going to run it again. I just don't think this is a good idea. I mean, two's better throwing it. Either give it to somebody or let him pitch it out there as Clowney's on the bench. Because I get to play offensive coordinator for a moment. But I'm not wrong, right?
No. And plus, you need him the rest of the season. You need him to be able to throw the football.
South Carolina needs Clowney on the field.
This is what Renner does best. Throwing the ball, and Jimmy LeGree was there to make sure that TJ Thorpe went absolutely nowhere, so now it's third down.
You know, this is interesting. For all the other SEC teams out there and their offensive coordinators that are watching this game and watching South Carolina, you're getting a pretty good indicator right now of what tempo does to this defense and their best players. Don't think that Mike Bobo and Georgia aren't watching this, maybe potentially getting ideas for their big matchup in week 2.
Tough opening 2 weeks for both Georgia and South Carolina. Phillip Dukes moved. Let's see if he was enticed to jump into the neutral zone.
False start, offense number 60, 5-yard penalty, third down.
To the center, Russell Bodine.
And to that point, Jesse, I understand what you're saying, and we've seen the cumulative effects. But the difference is, too, North Carolina's only got 10 points. I mean, it's not like they're lighting the scoreboard up like a pinball. They only got 250 yards of total offense. I mean, you see some signs that you say, man, that didn't look great. But South Carolina's defense, they're going to be tough. They're going to be physical. They're good in the trenches. They're good at corner. I think they're still going to be heck to deal with.
They're going to see better offenses in the SEC, too. Better offensive lines.
Third and 19, South Carolina goes to the run. Omar Morris picks up 9. So we're inside 11 minutes to play. It'll be fourth down and 10. And North Carolina's going to punt it away. I know the percentages are low in that situation. You go to the run here, down 17. You got to have it 3 times. Time starting. It's been against you for a while, but now it's really starting to be against you.
I think their defense has played a little bit better. I think this is the last time you punt it, though.
I wouldn't have punted it.
The punt's going to work out as well as you could have hoped. Pinning South Carolina back inside his 10. They'll mark it at the 6. So 10 minutes and 16 seconds left to play on opening night. Kentucky by 17.
Steve Spurrier coaches his quarterbacks not to throw 2 receivers. Instead, he wants you throwing into open areas of the field on time without even looking at your receivers. And here's an example on an in route. Ready? Go. He doesn't want you to drop back and at the top of the route, locate the receiver, telegraph your throw, because it gives the defense an opportunity to make a jump on the ball. Instead of staring at the wide receiver, Coach Spurrier wants you to feel the receiver coming into the open area of the field. Go.
A way to spin that magic beam. What do you mean by feel the receiver coming into the open area?
Coach Spurrier doesn't want you looking at receivers, instead looking into open areas of the field and feeling defenders and areas that you know the receiver is going to run into, and then throw that on time.
Right now, Coach Spurrier wants North Carolina to feel the brunt of his running game. And Mike Davis, I think they got just about every Tar Heel short of Michael Jordan trying to get him on the ground. 9-yard pickup on first down. Let's check in with Chris Cotter in the studio.
Reese, time for more Coors Light cold hard facts. You know, lots expected of George O'Leary's Black Knights this year. And take a look at this play. UCF quarterback Blake Bortles doing his best Johnny Manziel impersonation. Gets the football back, scrambles, and finds J.J. Warden. 39 yards later for a touchdown. Central Florida 24. Akron zips zip on ESPN 3, Reese.
All right, Chris. Bortles, UCF now part of the New American Conference. Brandon Wilds into the game and picks up the first down. And it was a perfect example of a play where you have to anticipate a throw earlier tonight.
Saw an example here by Connor Shaw. You're going to see him drop back, and at this point in the top of his drop, his vision is in this third of the field, but he's throwing to this receiver at this area. He's not looking at him, but he knows the area is open to throw into. The ball comes out on time, and it's a very wide open throw. Trusting this coaching, to me, was the hardest part about playing for Steve Spurrier. And it really took me 3 years before I trusted it. But when you start throwing the football with conviction and you believe in it, this offense is so much fun to play in because you can put up some big-time numbers as a quarterback.
First and 10, Shaw pulls it and keeps it. David, what does it do to a defender when a quarterback looks at a defense and reads a defense like that?
Well, it's the defensive backs, what you're taught to do is read the quarterback's eyes, and it really gives you an advantage. You can break on the ball and kind of vacate your zone pretty quickly. When he's not staring at a receiver, it makes it harder. So, you know, I think with the run, with the quarterbacks in Spurrier, you don't see as many mistakes from Connor Shaw, and you're not going to because it's harder to get a jump and a tell on where he's throwing the football. You know, why is he not sliding? That just drives me insane.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Get on the ground.
We'll talk about that in just a second. With 8 minutes and 20 seconds remaining here, this game is being suspended because lightning is in the area. We had an earlier message tonight for the fans to be aware that perhaps some bad weather was moving into the area. When we checked the radar, it appeared that perhaps the worst of it was going to move south of Columbia, but with lightning in the vicinity, obviously the safety of the fans and the players on both teams of the utmost importance. And these two teams will retire to their respective locker rooms, with South Carolina holding a 17-point lead. We'll keep you up to date on when this game might resume. The final 8:20 as South Carolina tries to finish off a season-opening victory against their cross-border rivals from North Carolina. 27-10, Gamecocks have the lead. Let's check in with Chris Cotter now during this delay.
Welcome back to the Land Rover Halftime Report.
Cotter, McShay, Smitty, South Carolina, North Carolina, earlier tonight on ESPN. With Jadeveon Clowney looking to live up to the hype, but it was all offense early. Look at Connor Shaw here going deep to Shaq Rowland, Todd, and pitch and catch. South Carolina up top quick.
And that's generally his weakness, down the field accuracy, but you see there, ball's right on the money.
All right, later in the game, here's Jadeveon Clowney. Look at him swim through and change the play here, Robert.
Yeah, I mean, he's such a force out there, so quick off the ball, getting off the ball, and that's something that offensive linemen have trouble with, getting out of their stance quickly enough to accommodate a guy like that with that burst of acceleration.
Brent Renner did complete the pass on that play, but then here we go. Dylan Thompson, the other quarterback, Todd, for South Carolina, with a touchdown pass to Kane Whitehurst.
Curious to see how Coach Spurrier uses these quarterbacks this year. Obviously, Connor Shaw taking the vast majority of the snaps, but 1 for 1 for a touchdown is not bad for
It was 17-0 like that. North Carolina was hanging in there, but then in the third quarter, here's Mike Davis. And the speed to run away from the Tar Heel defenders. This really blew the game wide open here, Robert.
And I'll tell you, Mike Davis did a great job knowing where his blocking was coming from, being nice and patient, getting inside, and then the acceleration to get to the end zone.
And then the lightning, a weather delay here with about 8.5 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. An hour and 45 minutes. They came back out. Again, remember, South Carolina's on top 27-10. Now take a look at this play in the backfield here. Just as the play was sort of wrapping down, Clowney gets rolled.
It's a cheap shot, really. If you look at 72, diving at the back of his legs on purpose, that's not falling into. You know, you don't like to see that. It doesn't matter who the recipient is. I mean, obviously we're gonna shine a light on this because it's Jadeveon Clowney, but You don't like to see that from an offensive lineman. That was completely unnecessary.
Clowney did come back in the game, and it ended up being a 27-10 final. So South Carolina getting the win. And Robert, how impressed were you with South Carolina? Even with Jadeveon Clowney, you know, maybe not involved in any big plays, the defense looked good and the offense looked good from the start.
Yeah, and this was the thing. You go back a couple of weeks, there were concerns about the South Carolina offense and the way that they performed against that solid defense in a scrimmage, but they performed very well tonight. But you have to remember, this South Carolina offense outweighed this North Carolina defensive line by 50 pounds per person. And when you get into SEC play, especially when you're going against a team like Georgia, even with young guys, it's a much more difficult matchup. But very impressive tonight. People were wondering what's it going to look like without Marcus Lattimore. I'll tell you, Mike Davis looked great in there. Brandon Wilds did a nice job toting that rock, and both quarterbacks looked good.
Yeah.